Hi, my name's Laurie Singer, and I'd like to introduce myself. I am a licensed marriage family therapist and a board-certified behavioral analyst. I've just finished a book titled You're Not Crazy: Living with Anxiety, Obsession, and Fetishes. This book is really important to me because I wanted to get the word out to everybody about the two modalities I use in my practice, which are cognitive behavioral therapy and behavioral therapy. These two techniques are very solution-focused and effective. I've seen it work not only on myself, but on other people. And it's helped so many different individuals, and I just wanted to share with everybody what I think will be helpful to you. You're Not Crazy: Living with Anxiety, Obsessions, and Fetishes is designed to help those who suffer deeply from anxiety and its manifestations, especially in these times of escalating mental health concerns exacerbated by the devastating pandemic. Are you suffering from any of the following? Anxiety, agoraphobia, obsessive-compulsive disorder, excoriation, fetishism, conversion disorder. This illuminating workbook is filled with stories of people at their neurotic quirkiest who find life-altering transformations and offers readers a methodical solution that can liberate them from similar anxiety-based modalities. What made me write this book was, for many years, I have had colleagues in my county refer clients, patients to me. These individuals were initially going to see these other medical doctors for symptoms they were experiencing that were exhibiting themselves physiologically, whether it was a rash on their skin or disturbing, risky behavior that they were engaging in, and medication alone was not going to work. So they came to see me, and the two therapies that I use, the cognitive behavioral therapy and behavioral therapy, were life-changing for these individuals. And 2020 came along, I turned 60 years old, and I set a new goal for myself, and that goal was to write a book. And I did it. And the timing of it, I think, was key because of the pandemic and how it just took on a life of its own. The meaning of the book got even more close to my heart because I could see that more people were suffering, and that the treatment plans in the book are going to help a lot of people. I'm getting calls. I can't tell you how many calls a week that I get now for new clients or patients to come in. I see that there's so many people that are suffering right now, and I do believe that it is only the beginning. Young kids and teenagers, especially right now, because their future is uncertain. Their school where they once attended, the friends that they saw, their whole life is turned upside down, giving them some type of hope. And that's what cognitive behavioral therapy does in itself. It tries to teach you the thought process. If there's just a little bit of hope that you can focus on, rather than becoming hyper-focused on the negative, then that's what we need to retrain your thought process to do. You know, we've talked about the pandemic and it being a stressor for individuals, but we haven't really discussed why it's a stressor. And I think initially when the pandemic hit and the lockdown started, that there was a sense of fear, of course, of contracting the virus. But we didn't think it was going to last this long. We didn't think that our normal would be taken away for so long. And it has impacted us emotionally because it affects us in so many different ways. We have the stressor of being isolated, social distancing. It affects us economically. Our future is uncertain. So all of these things, we can all relate to one another. We're not alone, but it makes us feel alone. It's interesting because all of the people that I've been working with recently that have experienced an increase in their anxiety or OCD behavior because of COVID-19, there is a common factor in it. And the common factor is the uncertainty and the stuckness that they feel. They feel stuck where they're at. How do they move forward? So one of my jobs or goals is when they come to see me is not only to teach them replacement behaviors and to teach them strategies to help them stay calm, to identify the triggers of their anxiety, but to know that there is hope in the future. I think that's a big factor. People have to know that things will turn around, or at least have hope that they will, and to focus on something positive no matter how small it is. In my book, I designed it in a way so it's very easy reading and it's enjoyable. In the case studies, you'll probably pick up on a few things that you might have in common with this individual. The case studies were changed so that nobody will be able to identify actually who it is because bits and pieces were taken from them. I'd like to read 2 chapters from my book just to kind of give you an example of what you would be reading when you picked up the book. I think it's important for everybody to hear a little bit, just to hear what it sounds like. So on page 11, the title is Let Us Begin. It's time to get unstuck. You will solve the problem that holds you in place, the one that keeps you spiraling from the same gravitational force of irrational behavior and stops you from moving forward with life. Perhaps you feel alone in your efforts, unsupported by those around you, or trapped by circumstance, but you know it's time to make a change. If you've picked up this book, you're either suffering from some troubling behavior or you know someone who does. You will find stories of people and circumstances much like your own, and those in circumstances only vaguely like yours. Mainly, you will find that as unique as your story is, elements of it are not unusual. While every case carries its own specifics in detail and nuance, the broad strokes overlap, and you will learn new ways of handling life's challenges. This is a prelude to the case studies, and it talks about anxiety. The spiral into any anxiety disorder begins with a slow arc. It sneaks into the thoughts a little at a time. It may disguise itself as sensible caution at first, as reasonable concern. By the time it deteriorates into a debilitating situation, the behavior itself takes on a life of its own. It works through what it looks like when you come into my office and then what we would do together. And it's actually in the book. I've put everything in there. In the last section of the book, there is a workbook section that each individual who buys this book will be able to fill out the data sheets, will be able to print out visuals if they want. They will be able to write their own motivational story. Everything that I do with the client in my office is written in this book. So you could pick it up and read it and go through the exercises, fill it out yourself, and have a treatment plan for yourself that will help you.